gotta be against the law to look this damn good. Watch out now. Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would. Watch out now. It's gotta be against
Wake up! Yep, it's that time again. Vape AM brought to you by Vapors1.com. I'm your host, Anthony Ramella. Good morning, guys. It's a bright, new, sunshiny day here in Toledo. We don't get too many of these. Thunderstormed last night, but at least it's sunny right now, so I'm happy for the moment. That's about all I can wish for. Well, you know, like we do every day, we're going to do some birthdays, going to do some history, going to do some news, and I got a little something special for you at the end we're going to talk about, and I'm kind of wondering how you guys are going to feel about it, so we'll get to that in just a second. So in history, for those of you that don't know, we did have a police action, war, I don't know what they want to call it, in Korea. That actually started about this time in history, so it's just one of those things that is not so much a great mark on our country, and one of these situations that really has never actually ended. So just something to think about. You know, we really don't talk about the Korean War much unless we're watching an episode of MASH, which that show lasted longer than the war, or, you know, we're at the VFW and one of the guys that's served our country well. So I just wanted to bring that up today to kind of, you know, reminisce about that. As far as birthdays go, we do have a few birthdays today, a little more than usual. Just some fun ones, I thought. Khloe Kardashian's birthday is today, and she is, let me get up here to the top because I don't want to get this wrong. She is 34 years old. So Khloe, you're making that march up to 40. So, and it's all downhill after that. Another one we got today, probably, and I want to talk about this just for a second, but probably what started the whole big superhero movie thing was the Spider-Man that came out. Did record numbers as far as the box office is concerned, and it's Tobey Maguire's birthday today. So I really loved that first Spider-Man episode. I thought, or that first Spider-Man movie, I thought it was fantastic. I did make the joke when we were waiting in line to see that movie, because it's the first movie I'd waited in line to see for a long time, that basements all across the United States were empty that night, because you know, all of us nerds were out there watching the new Spider-Man movie, and obviously we did, because it did like record numbers at the box office. I did have one more birthday here. Let me get down to it. My computer will work for me. Let's see. Oh, J.J. Abrams' birthday is today. So another one like that. I love the work that he's done in the science fiction area, and all honesty, I was really impressed with the Star Wars movie that came out. So The Force Awakens to me was literally a wake-up call. I didn't think after Disney took it over that it was going to go anywhere. I was afraid that Mickey was going to come out with a lightsaber, but thank God that did not happen, and I almost boycotted the movie. I've watched these movies with my son since he was a little kid. Every new one that came out since he's been alive, we've seen in the theater, and I kind of felt bad about it, so I'm like, okay, well, the very last minute, it was like the opening day, and I'm like, you know what, we've done this, let's go ahead and do that. I was so impressed. I mean, literally, like that last scene with her holding that lightsaber out to Luke, I mean, it brought tears to my eyes. So, you know, it's nice to be able to be a grown-up and still be able to feel those emotions from something that was really, really important to you when you were a kid. So I'm a big nerd, and that's just kind of how things go. All right, guys. Well, let's get on to some Wake and Vape news. I got a couple of stories for you today that I found interesting. Let's see here. This one here is kind of hitting close to home for me. This one, unfortunately, is another story about California. It's not about San Francisco per se, but we do end up, and I think a lot of the media coverage ends up going to California just strictly because there's a lot of stuff happening out there. But I'm going to read the title here. Now, this is a CNN article, so this isn't something I grabbed from Joe's Backwater Gazette. This is actually like really headline news. We'll put some links down in the description so you can actually go and read this article for yourself. But it says, the title of this article is half of tobacco and vape shops don't ID teens, undercover research finds. Now, the article goes on to basically say that they have been doing sting operations in California where an FDA official will go with an underage person. They will follow them into the store. They tell these teenagers to be honest with the people if they ask them about their age or IDs and things like that. And it's saying almost half of the stores that sell tobacco and vape products have failed this. Now, they kind of lumped the vape stuff in there, I think, just because they wanted to make sure that these numbers were as high as they possibly could be. And as a lot of you know, I mean, I smoked as a teenager, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there that have made the switch to vaping did as well. But this is a concern. This is something that is hitting close to home with us. We know that we've been investigated at Vapers a few times for things of this nature, and I don't know that we're not going to take even further steps to ID our customers that come in to see us. I think that it's one of these things that we're just going to have to kind of go overboard about for a little while, and I'm hoping that the customers understand this is not something that we want to do, but I can't take any risk in our business failing or losing the ability to vape just because we didn't ask someone for an ID. So those of you that are out there that come to our shows, that watch this show, that come to our stores, that watch this show, know that we probably will ID you a little bit more often, even if you're 35 or 40 years old, just to make sure that we are following this to the letter of the law. We want to stay doing this as long as we can and be as legal as we can. There may come a point where we can't be as legal as we can, but we're gonna continue down that path as long as we possibly can. So I would encourage you guys to read this article. Like I said, I can barely touch base on some of these because a lot of these articles are fairly long and there's a lot of information around here. But you need to take a quick minute and read these articles. So the other one that I'm pulling is actually from NBC. And the title of this article says, "Banning e-cigarettes, not tobacco products, is ludicrous, some public health experts say." And I'm 100% in total agreement about that. The issue is that we're not looking at public health when it comes to these types of bans. And I think most people would really understand that. There are that percentage of people that think that vaping is as dangerous or more dangerous than smoking. And I think I've probably done everything in my power to make that not the truth. Trying to lead people to more scientific evidence, Royal College of Physicians, New England Journal of Medicine. There are studies out there that show these things. Even the one we looked at from the Harvard study the other day, where your environmental air is actually more toxic to you than exhaled vapor. And once this science finally gets out there, and it's getting a lot of traction lately, I think it's just going to be overwhelming to the point that they're not going to be able to play this game anymore. And I think that's what the deal is. It's a money-motivated game, and when you have lobbyists and things that are promoting a product, and this other one is in direct competition, but they're smaller, you want to try and squash them. And I think that some people are getting this information a little bit twisted, or they want to throw us all into the same group. And if it wasn't for the nicotine, we'd be miles and miles apart. So this is one of these things that I like to see because, if health experts are saying this, then I think it's an important thing. So I'll have a link in the description for that article as well, so that you guys can, do some reading on that also. So the last thing I want to talk about, and I had Drew run it on the TV over here, kind of over and over again so you guys could see. I guess with the Korean War thing today, I did a little bit more research about that because I've seen some, articles and some film over there about some of the ways that they teach their children and about the whole culture as a whole. I've seen math classes where the way they do math is we have 4 American bastards, and if you kill 2 American bastards, how many American bastards are left? Okay, they really, really don't like us. But here's the other side of that coin is, I think a lot of their society is a lot of what these lawmakers would like to see as something that would happen here, and it scares me because there are things that's what makes America great is our individualism. There, a lot of times when you see new inventions and things like that, these were people that went against the grain of what was the norm or went against, a law that they felt was unjust. If you want to live in a society where, all the kids are required to finish the 12th grade, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. If you want free schooling and free, university and those types of things, this is what North Korea is all about. They are very restrictive in what they allow. Most people aren't even allowed to be on the internet because they don't want that information to get out. Everything is pushed towards how great the government is, and any kind of political unrest is just not tolerated. How they deal with that situation, I'm going to leave to your information and your studies, but it's fairly severe. So understand that if this is the type of society that you want to live in, maybe that's where you want to go. Because in this society, I want to have freedoms like we've talked about the other day. I want to have that option to be able to read the things I want to read. I want as much information as I can so I can make a logical decision on what's right for me. And I think truth is a big part of that. So that's one of the things that makes our country great is the things that we are, rebels, that we, don't always go with the status quo. And I think that's what a lot of these, laws and things that they're trying to put into effect, they want to put us in this little box. Well, That's what a little box looks like, okay? If you want to be in that where you all dress the same, you all look the same, you are given propaganda from the government that is just absolutely not true, and you want to be reminded about a war that happened years and years ago, that's their society, all right? And it scares me to look at that because all of their people are focused on science and technology and those kinds of things. And, we maybe aren't as much doing that. And if that ends up being something that hurts us later on, that's a concern for me. So we do want people to go to school. We want people to go to universities. But in this society, unfortunately, we are a capitalist society, and money is what drives a lot of what we do. And without that money, you can't have schools and things like that, but also money cannot be driving the argument for things that are unhealthy. And that's why I keep bringing these things up. So I don't want to live in North Korea, but those of you out there that want to ban vaping, I would strongly suggest making the move. All right? Guys, I love you all, and I like seeing you every day. I'm going to try and keep doing these as much as I can. I think I've figured out a way to maybe come to you guys on the regular basis and still be able to get all the rest of my work done. So I'm going to try my hardest to keep this rolling. Don't forget about the website, vapers1.com, low prices, I vape, I vote shirts, everything you could ever possibly need for all of your vaping needs, all right? I love you guys, and I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Gotta stop smoking, don't you know? The life you save might be your own. Down to vapors I go. Down to vapors I go. Vapers1.com is the site you should know. So online, down to vapors I'll go.